Okay, dividing. In first place, let's look at what dividing really means. Okay, what if we had 8 divided by 4? And when we see a problem written with this division sign, we can always change that to 8 divided by 4. Okay, make sure you can do that correctly. Well, what could this mean, to divide 8 by 4? Well, let's say we have 8 people. Okay, let's say we have 8 people, and we want to divide them into groups of 4. Okay, we want to divide them into groups of 4. We want to break them up into groups of 4. How many groups would we have? Well, 4 goes into 8. 2 times, there would be 2 groups. Okay, or we could look at it this way. We could say, well, we've got 8 people. Okay, and we want to break those 8 people into 4 equal groups so they can do an activity or something. If we want to divide them into 4 equal groups, how many people would there be in each group? Okay, well, 4 goes into 8 twice. People per group. Okay, so it's the same division, but sometimes it means something a little bit different. Okay, but this is basically what we're doing when we're dividing. Okay, division problem. Let's do a division problem. Long division, it's called. Okay, 4 goes into 725. How many times? 4 goes into 725. How many times? Well, what I like to do is say, well, put your hand over here and say, well, does 4 go into the first number? Does it go into 7? Well, yes, it does. Okay, so I'm going to underline that 7. And I know now in my head, or you can actually write this on the paper, I know that I'm going to have to put a number up here. And then in order to finish the problem, I'm going to have a number here and a number here. And then you're going to be done. Okay? 4 goes into 7 how many times? Well, how many groups of 4 could you make out of 7 thing? Just once. Okay? 1 times 4 is 4. We multiply over here. 1 times 4 is 4. Then we subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 left over. Now we bring down the next number, okay? Bring down the 2. I like to use an arrow to do that. Bring down the 2 to here. And now we have another division problem, okay? Now our problem is 4 goes into 32. How many times? Okay? Does 4 go into 32? How many times? 4 goes into 32 exactly 8 times. I know from my timetables. 8 times 4 is 32. Again, we multiply the 8 times the 4 and get 32. We subtract. We get 0. We bring down the next number, which is a 5. And now we have another division problem. How many times does 4 go into 5? Well, just once. We multiply again. 1 times 4 is 4. And we have 1 left over. Okay. That 1 left over is called the remainder. I'm going to tell you what we can do with the remainder in a minute. We could check this, okay? Again, time sometimes is a concern, but if you have time to check your division, you can say, well, I said I've got 181 groups of 4, okay? How many people would that be? 181 times 4. 4 ones are 4. 4 eights are 32. Carry the 3. 4 ones are 4. That's 724. Plus I had 1 left over. 725, okay? So it does check, okay? Okay, what can we do with the remainder? Sometimes, and on a lot of the tests you're going to take, all you have to do with the remainder is to state that it's a remainder. If this is, the answer is 181, and you've got 1 left over here, we could just put 181 remainder of 1. Okay? 181 remainder of 1. Let's say though that this were money. Okay? If this were money and we really didn't want to just have $1 left over, we wanted to divide, we're dividing $725 among 4 people, and we wanted to break up that last dollar, okay? We might do the problem like this. Okay? Same way, okay? We've got 725, and this is dollars. I'm going to divide it by 4. Again, I'm not going to go through all the things. 4 goes into 7 once. 4, I get 3, bring down to 2, that's an 8. 8 times 4 is 32. I bring down to 5, I'm still getting the same answer, and I've got a remainder of 1 here. Well, we can incorporate decimals into this answer. This is in fact what your calculator does all the time. It turns all the division problem answers into decimals. All we have to do is put a decimal point here, okay, and put a couple of zeros after here, as many as we need. We're going to learn in a minute in dividing, or down the line here, dividing decimals. When you have a decimal in your number and there's no decimal out here, we just float that decimal up into the answer. Now we can bring down this 0, okay? And again, when you bring a number down, you've got to put a number up, even if it's a 0. It's not a 0 in this case, but that's a good rule to remember. How many times does 4 go into 10? Twice. 2 4s are 8. We subtract. We still have a remainder of 2, so I'm going to bring down this other 0. 4 goes into 20, exactly 5 times. 5 4s is 20. Now there's no remainder, and that last dollar that I had left over was broken up into a quarter for each person, 25 cents for each person. So each person would get $181.25. Okay, that's another thing you can do with your remainder. There's a third thing. Okay, the third thing you can do with the remainder is you can turn it into a fraction. Okay, again, this is money, $725, divided among 4 people. We know each person is going to get $181, and at $1 we're going to divide again into 4 quarters, but we can express that as a fraction. We can put this 1 here, and we can put the 4 on the bottom, okay, and call that 181 and 1/4, or 1/4. Okay, so again, each person is going to get $181 and a quarter. Okay, so those are the 3 things you can do with the remainder when you're doing long division.